Is that working? Yeah,
We are now recording. I will click through your slides as you need me to.
okay.
Yep, go ahead. Just yesterday.
Okay, yeah. This time.
Where's my photo?
Okay. All right. It is 5:06. We'll quickly get started. So, hello everyone. Thank you for coming today. This is just the session on. Okay.
It works every time.
All right, everyone. Okay, so this is How to CodeJam. So, welcome everyone. Pleasure having you here. This is just a quick session on how to CodeJam. Obviously, a bit history on CodeJam. So, what is CodeJam? April, can you prompt? All right. CodeJam is UQCS's annual coding competition. We run it on HackerRank, and it is an opportunity for people who are interested in the space of competitive programming to get exposed to the environment and to compete for some cash prize. I'll talk more about the prizes later on, but we have some pretty good sponsors this year, so we are willing to have, we're happy to have a lot of prizes available for everyone. But I'm guessing if you're here, this is probably your first time competitive programming. So I'd just like to quickly mention our competitive programming club that we have every Thursday. This is an opportunity for people to get exposed to the environment of competitive programming and for the love of the game, for the love of programming in general. This is our 10th year of running CodeJam. I might be incorrect on that. There might be 11th year. We're unsure on the starting date on that. But CodeJam has been running for longer than all of us have been at university, so it's an honor to host it for 10 years now. Let's go for the next slide. Oh yeah, another thing as well. So the programming language, you might be familiar with Python, C++, Java. It's not necessarily important what language you're choosing. The aim of this competition is to complete the problems the fastest. So to complete the problem the fastest, there are 3 categories of problems. There are your easies, your mediums, and your hards. These have all been provided by committee members and volunteers. Shout out to the volunteers as well. They have extensive experience in competitive programming and have provided these questions and ranked them for you guys to complete. There's more details on that later. Okay, onto the actual content itself. Who can join us? So non-members and members can join us. There's obviously a non-member fee. So if you want to get a discounted price, maybe it's worth signing up for UQCS and just a little shield there as well. But you don't have to have a background in competitive programming to join this competition. This is purely for fun. You can just have fun with your friends, get exposed to some problems, and get exposed into the space of competitive programming. But those who are actually there to win prizes as well, there's also the prizes available for your we'll go into that later. Well, that's fine. We do have tickets. The tickets are available on Humanitix right now. They're available on our Discord server. They're available on our Linktree. And they're priced pretty cheaply this year. I think it's $5. So really good pricing. This covers food, drinks, and just registration for the competition itself. Okay, the rules. We're pretty strict on this. So I forgot the limitation for in-person or online. What was the limitation for that, Amy?
It was behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, if you are online, you are ineligible for prizes.
Right.
Because we can't monitor if you are using LLMs or not, and it makes things a little bit unfair. If you're in person and you have a ticket, you are eligible for prizes and you can do as you please. However, there's more rules on LLMs later, but Aaron.
Yes. So the goal for this is to test how you guys go individually. So obviously you guys can be competing for these problems individually. It's good to work with people and to discuss the problems themselves. I wouldn't be discussing solutions with other people. At the end of the day, your rank is determined by how fast you complete these solutions. Just a little iteration on that as well. I know that a lot of you might have taken 3506 or data structures and algorithms and have been exposed to these advanced algorithms. These algorithms can be applied and could be applied in case that you guys fail the time complexity of these problems, which will be discussed later when we actually go through a problem. But the aim of the game is to just complete the problem as fast as possible. You gain more or less points for how fast you complete it, and you can obviously have multiple attempts at these problems as well. The competition rules, what else am I forgetting? Oh yes, to be eligible, you need to be a current university student, current UQCS member, and you need to be in person. We are strict on that because of a little thing called ChatGPT and LLMs. Next slide.
You're also missing a point.
Oh yes, if you were considered a first-year student, you'll be eligible for the first-year prize, which I'll discuss later. You guys have probably seen the prices, but that is conditional on whether you are in your first or second semester. All right.
Can I add a nice, interesting history?
Yes.
The first year student used to be, is currently taking university and has not taken any surgery courses or CSSE 2310. That was
Yes.
That's
All right. ChatGPT. We are strictly anti-AI. We are not allowing you to use LLMs. We're not allowing you to use Claude, Gemini, or anything associated with that. No Google Notebooks, no Google search bar. When you click on the search bar, there's the AI option. We're not doing that. You can, however, use online resources like Stack Overflow, or the other one, I forgot the other one, W3 Schools, or any of these other resources as well. You are eligible to use those. I forgot the clarity on LeetCode. I don't believe you can use LeetCode solutions. Although I don't think it's really necessary because we're not really pulling the solutions from LeetCode in the first place. Another thing we cannot use as well is GetCracked. GetCracked is a sponsor for this event. They have provided some problems which are going to be discussed later. You cannot use GetCracked during this competition. Yeah.
something else that I'll also clarify. There's only so much we can do to monitor if you are using LLMs or not. I would say it would be pretty stupid to use LLMs as a whole, because this is a really good opportunity to learn and put yourself out there and actually just put yourself into these problems head first. And so if you are using LLMs, you're kind of just disadvantaging yourself for quite literally no reason. So avoid it for your own sake.
I guess we can talk about it on this perspective as a competitor as well, because as a competitor, you're having fun. We've designed these problems for you to go through and enjoy solving these problems without using an LLM. First of all, if you're using an LLM, we'll just put you in the shame list and you'll be ineligible for any prizes. So it just ruins the fun of it. So I just recommend not using it at all. Yes, we do have a shame list where you will be publicly humiliated if you do use an LLM. So, scoring, I have to talk about this later. So, each challenge has a predetermined score, and the participant score depends on the number of test cases the participant passes, and if a participant passes it, the score will reflect the highest score achieved. Okay, there we have, just in case you guys haven't used HackerRank or done any LeetCode before, you usually have test cases which you go through, and you can be successful and you can pass this X amount of test cases. That will impact your score as well. But ultimately as well, we're also dependent on how fast you solve it as well. So let's say if you were to pass the test cases of 20 out of 25 of a question, that would score more, that would score equivalent to someone who also passes that many test cases. So I'm pretty sure that's common sense. If you guys have passed all the test cases of a question, that will be dependent on the time. So the person who solves it the fastest and has passed all the test cases will be ranked higher than the person who solves it the slowest. So I think that's pretty intuitive. Everything I missed, participants, achieve the same score, will be number of time, next. All right, prizes. This is pretty new this year, so we have our first, second, and third place prizes. Our first prize has been boosted to $250, with generous donation from IMC. IMC is sponsoring these prizes, first, second, third, and the top first-year prize. This goes to the person who is in first or second semester, who has a highest score in first year. Other than that, it's based on the scoreboard. Now, GetCracked has kindly sponsored, and they have provided $200 to the person who can complete they get the highest score on the questions that they have submitted. So Coding Jesus has provided some questions from Get Cracked, and these will be the ones that contribute to this prize. We will not tell you which ones Coding Jesus has submitted, because if someone was cheating, they could just search up the question on Get Cracked, and which would be counterintuitive. So to counteract this, we're going to be hiding that, and you will find out if you complete more questions, you have a higher chance of winning that prize. Yeah, and our special appearances as well. So thank you to our amazing sponsors, IMC and Get Cracked, who have kindly provided the opportunity for you guys to win these prizes and sponsor the event in total. IMC will be flying reps down to represent, and they will be handing out prizes and representing. And then Get Cracked, yeah, has provided the sponsor money and also provided the questions to do, yeah. All right, any questions? Coming once, coming twice? All right, we'll move on to the demo. So if you guys get your laptops out, you'll be able to go through a HackerRank question on a simulated environment of what CodeJam will look like.
Okay, so I'm taking over here. Just let me test. All right, so how the CodeJam demo competition is on, and you can go to this link. Is it in the announcement?
I'll make an announcement.
All right, cool. Can I use this? Is this logged into HackerRank?
Yes, I think so. No, no, no.
All right, so first, let's go to the link. And on that page, you'll be able to see a page. Let's copy that, paste it. Can you clip this somewhere? How do you clip this? All right. Sorry, give me a second here. Test. Okay, no, that's dropping. I guess I'll just hold it. All right, so you'll be able to see this. In order to enter the competition, both this one as a demo and the actual one that is on the day of the competition, you need to have a HackerRank account. So make sure you make one before the competition, otherwise it will cost you some time to enter the competition, which can put you into a disadvantage. But what you'll see when you open a competition link is this. You should click sign up in order to get in there, and you will need to sign in. What is it? Okay, so the competition link for this how to CodeJam demo is put in the CPG channel of the UKCS Discord. So you can make an account, joining, and you'll be able to see this board. I have made this challenge to use as a demo. So this is a demo question. In most competitive programming contests, you'll be given a problem statement such as this one. It will describe the problem you need to solve, sometimes with an interesting story embedded in it. You will need to write a solution for the problem and then submit it. Your solution will then run against a few test cases, which will ultimately determine your score. In order to solve a challenge, this is the part that gets interesting. You need to read the input, do something with the input, which will then produce the answer, and then print out the result. A very simple question we're just going to do here is read input and print out whatever the output is, the input is, which means you don't really need to do anything with the input. You just print it right out. So you'll be able to see some additional information as well. First, we have already looked at this. This is question body, which describes the problem you need to solve. And then you have input format, output format, constraints, and maybe some sample inputs and outputs. The input format will describe what your input look like. Here, the input should be a line that contains the string S, which is the thing you need to print out. the output format is string s dash s prime, where s prime is the same as s. The constraints given here will tell you that the length of the string needs to be less than 124. This can be important for some questions because some of the questions can be brute forced, which means can be brute force when the constraint is small, but cannot be brute force if there is a very large space for the variables. Okay. Now, writing solutions. You can see here that we have something already inside of the editor. This is the code stubs. Sometimes you're provided with them as kind of a helper for you, kind of template for you. You'll be able to choose the language you want. There will be a long list of them. You have Python, Java, Ada, Haskell. I know a lot of people love Haskell. And Smalltalk, Scala, most of anything. You can even write it in Bash if you wish to. So let's use Python because that's the one I have write some sample code in advance to make sure I don't make any mistake here. You'll have this template code, which sometimes you'll be given this function, and if you have this template, you can just implement the function without having to worry about reading inputs and outputs. But here today, we're not really going to use that. So I will just delete it and write my own code instead. So we need to first read the input. In Python, that is relatively simple. I can say my string is equal to input, open close bracket. That is reading the input. And then I can do something with it, and I should print out the output. In this case, I just need to print string, because that is precisely what we need to do. So when we have hello in, we'll have hello out. That is pretty nice. You can also, if you would prefer to have a local editor, you can upload code as well. So you can have Visual Studio Code, write your code there, which have a better syntax highlighting and checking than the HackerRank online, and then upload the code as a file. You can also, if you like Vim, if you're one of the people who like Vim, you can go to settings and turn on Vim, and then you'll be able to edit it without, well, like you use Vim. And you can also change your tab spaces. If you're a maniac, you can change that to 8. All right, so that is the coding part. Another thing you can do is you are able to test your code. So as you just saw me do, when I click run code, it runs my code against this sample test case. So test case 0 is the public test case that you can use to test your code. When you click it, it processes it, and it checks if that's expected. You can also test against custom input. So you can write your input in the format of your of what the input format describes. I can say, hello, CodeJam. And then I can click run code, CodeJam. Okay. And you will be able to see your output. You can also write these test cases. You can also test locally. There is not a really strict way to do this, but this is some tool that provided by HackerRank that you can use to make debugging easier. All right, next is submitting. When you submit a code, you'll be able to see. So this is, if you do not submit, when you finish your code, don't just stop at running code. That just test your code. If you actually want to score, you need to submit your code as well. So click submit, click confirm, and you'll be able to see a bunch of test cases. And for now, this is a correct solution, and therefore all the test cases pass, and the message is success. However, there are some times where you have the wrong answers, and there might be some error in your code. And how do you check for that? You can, let's go to a submission that I had before. It is not my HackerRank, but that is fine because I remember what I did. So since I am the writer of this demo, I know precisely that 4 of the test cases are just a single A, B, C, and D respectively. So I can demonstrate what happens if you have different output. So I'm going to do a if x is equal to input, if x is equal to A, print x. So that is the correct case. And if x is equal to B, print not B. So that is incorrect case. And if x is C, let's do something evil and make it go inside an infinite loop. And lastly, if we have x is D, I'm going to make it throw an error. 1/0. That will throw a 0 division error. So now when you submit your code, you're going to see this test case will take a bit to run. Oh, what did I do?
Line 9.
What?
Should be
Okay, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. And now if I submit that code here, so yeah, that is one of the errors you can have, which is the compilation error, but you can also have a few other errors. So first, you can have the right answer, which is your input, your output match the output, the expected output exactly, which will give you a message of success. Then you can have wrong answer, which basically means you got the incorrect answer. You can have terminated due to timeout, which means your code take too long to run. In this case, I have an infinite while loop. And lastly, you have the runtime error, which means your code threw an error at runtime. Is that clear? And once you have your code here and you want to make some changes for it, if you go back to the problem directly, it's going to reset you to the scaffold. So if you actually want to make some changes to your submission that you made earlier, you can click this button, Opening Editor, which will copy and paste your code back here. That's clear as well? Cool. You may also notice that with the scoring, I have a 0.83 score with this test case, despite not having all of them right. This is because the scoring is based on how many test cases you solved. So since there is 8 test cases, and I have 1 of them correct, I got 1/7 times 5 score for this question. Sometimes different test cases can have different scaling. If you do not manage to solve the entire question, for example, the question is pretty hard and you're using recursion, which takes a lot of time, and you have a few timeouts, but you still manage to solve the first 3 test cases, for example, you'll get the mark for those. So even if you can't solve the question fully, still you can, if you have time, attempt a brute force solution to get at least some partial marks. Good. Is there any question? Do you know?
Yes. All right. We'd move on to questions. We'd move on to the.
No, actually, I have a few more.
Okay, I'll just mention. All right. Just by the way, we do have pizza and food outside. So after this tutorial, you'll be going through a couple of problems. So you'll be free to jump in and out of pizza. All right.
All right, cool. And then you will have a leaderboard. So some of you have already started working on the questions. You can go to the leaderboard for the entire, everyone participating in it by just clicking leaderboard in the page. And you can see how much score people have gotten and how much time they took to get that score. You can also compare progress if you really want to be competitive against a certain person. You can check the leaderboard for a certain question by clicking leaderboard for that question in particular. You can also, another thing about scoring that I'm not sure if it's very clear is that the score, if you have the same score, your leaderboard ranking is, the tie is broken by how much time you use to solve, the sum of the time you use to solve the first question, which means, let's say, if two of you both solve the same three questions, and you solve question 1, 2, and 3, and each of them takes, let's say, question 1 takes 5 minutes to solve, 2 takes also 5 seconds, and 3 takes 30 minutes. Sorry, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes. If A decides to solve question 1, 2, and then 3, the score will be 5 plus 5 because A will be able to solve the second question after A solved the first question, plus 5 plus 5 plus 30, and that time will sum to 15 plus 40, 55, I believe. I might make a mistake here. And if you decide to solve the easier, harder question first, and you got 30, 5, 5, your time taken will be 30 plus 30 plus 5, plus 30 plus 5 plus 5, which is equal to, which is greater than, I am not going to count that, which is greater than 55, which means A will have a higher place in leaderboard than B. So a strategy to get the highest score is by solving the easier question first. Cool. Think we get that? What do we have next? CodeJam link. Also, if you guys don't know where I'm from the UKCS CPG subcommittee, and we're also looking for new subcommittees to help running competitive programming related events. If you're interested in joining us, please sign up with the sign up form announcement. And the one last thing I have basically go through everything, is a big shout out to the problem setters for this year. Can I?
Is that?
How do you
Next to share. Oh.
present? Big thanks to our problem setters, April, Ryan, Gideon, Isaac, and Bradley, who wish to stay anonymous. Especially Bradley, whom wish to be anonymous, and Isaac, they have been setting our problems for a few years now, so they have been a great help for this question, for this competition, and without problem setters, we wouldn't be able to run CodeJam. Thank you guys so much for listening to us and going through this demo. Have fun with the rest of the competition. And also pizza.
Yeah, so there is pizza outside. Head out there if you want some. I think we actually remembered to get gluten-free stuff this time, unlike last night, so that should be there if that's something that you are interested in. I'll upload this to the UQCS YouTube, and I'll drop it in events if you want to watch this back, just because we didn't have time to set up the stream. Yeah, that's it.